If you're easily offended, run now. That's your only trigger warning. 58% of American black women that have children have at least one child by multiple different men. In other words, 58% of black women have two or more baby daddies. Okay. Now, y'all, TikTok has been suppressing my videos a little bit recently. I don't know why, but so I need y'all to like this. I need y'all to comment on it because we need to have this conversation. According to a study that was done by Cassandra Dorius, who was a postdoctorate fellow at the University of Michigan's Institute for Social Research, mothers with multiple fathers for their children are more likely to be underemployed, to have lower incomes, and to be less educated. According to the study, families with multiple fathers are stressed out, with issues often arising about how to consistently raise a child in different households. I got a question, because I've heard this used about the fact that 59% of black women that have kids have two or more baby daddies. I've heard this used by the pundits on podcasts. I've heard this used by the manosphere. I've heard this used by a lot of men that want to just bash the out of women. So it's like, okay, I accept your premise, but here's the thing. Typically, this study does not take into account the amount of women that were married before they had kids or then got divorced and got remarried and had children. This study doesn't bring that up. It doesn't take that into account. But what I want to know from the men is this. Typically speaking, because I've had conversations with thousands of women at this point, they all say, especially the ones that have multiple children by different men, they say, after my first marriage ended, I became celibate. I said, I'm going to hold out. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to wait to have sex again, that kind of thing. The men they were encountering that were black men were saying, well, you already somebody's mama. Why I got to wait to get the draws? Why I got to wait to clap the cheeks? Why I got to wait to get the... And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. Before we sit up here and try to damn and condemn women for having more than one child out of wedlock. Now, granted, there are a large percentage, a growing percentage of women that want children without getting married, to which I say, y'all know my opinion on that. I think that's stupid. I think that's stupid. I'm always think that's stupid. But to the men that want to bash women, that try to be celibate afterwards, this still proves to me men have no problem sleeping with and reproducing with women that they supposedly deem the unworthies, the undesirables, because I thought single mamas I thought they were the untouchables. I thought they were the undesirables. So why is it that women that have children, both in and out of wedlock, with one man already, still get sexual access from these supposed high value kings of the earth? Like, the math doesn't math to me. And as I investigate this further, I'm really starting to think you could either use this to bash women, or you could use this to say men are so hypersexual in this world today that they don't really give a about no legacy. They don't give a about having multiple children in one household that have been fathered by multiple different men. They don't give a about being statistics. They don't. Because if they did, this number of women that have children by more than one man would be drastically lower than what it currently is. So y'all tell me if I'm right, wrong, or indifferent. If you've made it this far, please let me know you made it this far. Put a church down there in the comments if you got this far. Because my thing is this. If men are supposed to be the leaders of society, if we're supposed to be the head honchos, we're the patriarchs, right? We lead society. Why are we leading in creating broken houses and in being active participants in the perpetuation of broken houses? Because the math ain't mathing.
So to answer your question, it would make your arguments more solidified as for why you was wearing a tie and doing that whole video. Because if you agree with me at the beginning and said that less than 37% of men actually have sex and the numbers go down, that actually goes against the argument that you're putting together.
That's taking men as a whole. That's taking the entire population of men as a whole. But if you
okay,
listen,
thank you. Let's stop right there.
But again, wait a minute. No.
Means
That's not how that works. Because again, when you look at it by age, okay, understand. You just said numbers can be skewed. Black men ages 15 to 28 have the least amount of children. That percentage, 54% of those men are single and childless. But by the time a black man reaches age 40, after he's achieved his financial peak in life, after he's hit his financial stride, the average amount of children that black men have is 2.4. The average amount of children black women have is 2.1. So by the time a man has reached his financial peak, the sexual marketplace has the numbers evened out for both men and women, sir.
Okay, so you saying from 40 on, where men's libido is down and they're actually having less kids, because you said the numbers fit that the numbers went down from 37%.
They go down for women, slightly up for men. Yes.
Okay.
Which is biological clock has a lot to do with that.
So again, you tried to chop down the numbers as for what I said. So if you now go with the smaller demographic, because there are more whites than blacks, that means the number are now smaller. So it would be inflated if you're using it by those stats to make it seem like everybody in the ghetto is knocking up, that the
No,
fellas
what
coming
I'm
home
doing is
and
taking
having 2 or better kids.
no,
Yes.
sir. What I'm doing is taking the number. So okay. So the number 37% is of all men. But when you do things per capita, which is where the study that I did, per capita means taking. You know what per capita means? It means taking whatever the given number is of a specific subset of a series of data points and only examining that specific subset of data points. The correlation I'm drawing is that 60% of men that have ever been incarcerated. So I'm looking at specifically the number of incarcerated males in the United States, taking
Black
that
or
number
white?
in and of itself
Wait.
and
Black
examining
or
that number
white?
as the case
Black
study.
or white? Black or white? Because you just specified that you were talking about the black community. So now you're saying
We're
men. That
looking at
means
in
you have to
the
use
study was
everybody
looking
then.
at black men.
Wait. Because you didn't make the distinction just now.
In the video I did.
Okay, just now you didn't make the distinction.
Are we
You
talking
said
about the video,
men
obviously?
incarcerated, sir. You said
Lapeef, I would swear to
men,
God, we were talking about the video
sir.
that
You
you
said
played.
men incarcerated. You said
Okay,
felons that was incarcerated. That's why I
if you
asked
go
you
back,
black
if
or
you
white, because I was
if you
listening to
go,
you.
okay, if you take the numbers, I'm looking in the video that Lapeef played for you guys. I'm looking at the percentage of incarcerated black males, brother. I don't know. I didn't know I had to restate that for you.
No, because I want to be accurate, because you came up here giving correction. So if
Okay,
that's
so
how
now we're
you
accurate.
okay, wait, hold on. You came up giving me correction. I conceded to it. So you set the playing field for how we're gonna have our conversation.
Okay. Marcus, did you speak yet? Okay. You're good.
I agree with the stats that Austin gave, because I would say definitely at least 60% of the homies that I know that went to jail, they definitely got kids.
So
Without a
Viz,
doubt.
let me ask you a question. Did you vet to make sure that he was telling you the correct thing without just agreeing with him?
I would believe, from my own experience, I can believe that stat without it being screwed for whatever purpose.
So you're going off of feeling again and being hyperbolic rather
I
than
provided the
holding
source
him
material for the
accountable to
study he
what he said.
referenced.
Well, I don't understand how it's feeling if I'm saying that in my experience in life of me knowing multiple people that have went
Okay.
to prison and
That's called
jail.
eyewitness testimony,
Okay,
actually.
so slow down, Slick. I'm speaking to Viz. So Viz, again, no one is discrediting what you saw in your locale, but does it match the numbers that he's putting up within this conversation?
I mean, it sounds like it, yeah. It
It
sounds like it
sounds
matches
like
it.
All right, I'm gonna play
it
the video
sounds
one
like
more
it's a
time.
feeling.
I'm gonna play the video one more time.
So, can I ask a question real quick? So when we're saying people black men who were incarcerated, right? Because I think I kind of see where Ken is going with it. Are we trying to say that people who are incarcerated, or that women are attracted to people who are incarcerated, or could it be the fact that men who are incarcerated generally exhibit degenerate behavior, generally are more irresponsible, and that could be the cause of why they have
I would
more
say it's
pregnancies
both.
versus the
Well, it's
regular
actually,
man.
yeah, it's actually, so to be honest with you guys, it's actually a combination of both of those things.
Yeah.
Yes, men that go to prison or that have spent a lengthy amount of time in the prison industrial system uh, exhibit a high amount of dysfunctional behavior. It is also demonstrably true that women of any society, but in particular in Black American society, exhibit a attraction to what we would term degenerate male behavior. That's and this is in large part, due to the fact that many women have a displaced, fractured image of genuine masculinity. The overwhelming majority of our Black sisters do not grow up in households with a mom and dad that are married. They have to piece together what manhood is from a multiplicity of different sources, and oftentimes the men that they're around are not the best quality or best caliber men to teach them what a good man is, and so they create and have this fractured mindset of masculinity, and they then reward what is actually toxic behavior by reproducing with it. This is a multivariate thing that is being discussed that can't really be confined to what I think that video might have been a couple minutes long, or maybe 2 or 3 minutes, I think at the most. This is a multivariate analysis problem.